So, yesterday, March 20th, was the day that we broke the berm to go into Iraq. If you didn't know a little history, so I was actually really quiet on social media for those of you that follow me on social media. And man, yesterday was a day of reflection. So, what was that, 2003? 2003, I was physically in Saudi Arabia in 2002 for Southern Watch. I remember sitting on the other side of the berm in Saudi Arabia, um, March 19th, and some of the things that took place that day, and then March 20th, actually breaking the berm and going into Iraq. I will say, for myself and many uh, Americans, many Iraqis, many people from other countries, that was a life changing day. It was a life changing day. It was the beginning. I don't want to say it was a beginning because we were doing stuff in Afghanistan, but for, I would say, the large majority of the US military, it was the beginning of my generation of war fighters. Um, I reflected a lot on it yesterday. I wasn't sad. It was just something to think about, between that and all of the other deployments, as many Marines did and many people in other services as well. Um, but that was the beginning. That was my exposure to that. And as I was reflecting on it, I was thinking of all the different moments um, from each deployment. And I don't know what it is about the human brain, but it has a way of kind of um, getting lost or staying focused on some of the more negative experiences that we could have. And then I just started thinking of some of the really positive ones. I remember, God, we were so young. I remember we're in a Humvee. So at that time when we broke the berm, uh, we were in softback Humvees. We were still wearing like green, you know, uh, jungle warfare type stuff, flak jacket, or let me rephrase. So we had this weird mix of these desert tans that we got from SIF, for our deployment issue. And then we still had to wear, um, a lot of the old gear that they wore, post Vietnam. So we're wearing, these jungle flak jackets, which, as we've learned, stop nothing, but it's better than nothing. And softback Humvees that stop nothing, but it's what we had. And just experiencing some of the silly moments. I think for those of us that have served in the military, I would even say a lot of first responders, the the best moments that I have that probably make me sad as well are the funny, goofy things that you do, whether it's from boredom or just stress relief or whatever it might be. But one of the things that popped in my head, and I posted a buddy of mine on Facebook, uh, myself, a buddy of mine, Pate, Sergeant Pate. So prior to that, we built Camp Sled in Saudi Arabia. Actually, I don't know if I should tell that story. That's Pate's story. That was funny though. But we were breaking the berm, and Pate had, I don't know if you guys remember those big boom boxes. I think um, we didn't have all the technology that we have now at all. So it's like, I remember I took a Discman with me, had no batteries. I only had like a small pack of batteries that I could fit in my pack. And I forgot all my CDs except for the one that was in there. And it was like the worst CD. It was, gosh, what was the name of that group? It was Throwing Copper. Somebody's going to sit there and go, I know exactly what that is. But it was like the worst. And whenever I hear it now, um, it just almost makes me ill. Live, the album Throwing Copper, I had that CD, and of course, it just, it's a desert. Everything just gets ruined out there. but that's all I had. So I licked the CD and tried to smooth it out and listen because it's all I could listen to. But anyways, Pate had this giant boombox and had the big giant D batteries or whatever. And I remember through the entire deployment, he was always trying to find batteries. And we didn't have anything that first time through. There was no bases. We were just going in. And while we were going in, I don't know how in the hell he did it or what it was, but he had this big goofy boombox and he's playing Outcast Bombs Over Baghdad. And for some reason, that was just one of those goofy moments. Here it is, we're going into it, and he's playing Bombs Over Baghdad. It is just the silliest. It's the little silly moments, ending up in the middle of we got in the middle of a giant sandstorm, and we happened to be in a minefield and couldn't see anything after, and people taking dumps in the Humvees because you couldn't go anywhere or see anything. You couldn't get out of your vehicle, just stuck there, and having no idea who was the enemy, where they were, what was going on. We were still using green gear, and we didn't have any of the technology at all that's available and afforded in warfare now. And it was maps. We had a map. Somebody had a map. I don't know who the hell had the map, but somebody had a freaking map. We had a general idea where we were going, and we had green gear. That was it. We were waging war the old school way. And it was always entertaining to me as we progressed through warfare, how you had these old warriors that insisted on using this old uh, technology to wage war when there were so many other great things out there. But anyways, yeah, yesterday gave me a lot of reflection, and in the process, I was a little sad, I guess. I think the challenge I see, not with just myself, but for so many others that have served, and everybody that has their own story of when they went into a combat environment of some sort. Um, it's almost like it can be. I don't know. I can't say it can be. I think it's known. It's a known fact. It's I guess you could say it's starting a new chapter. It's starting a new chapter of who you end up becoming. Um, and you're just kind of forever changed. Everybody has a different story and a different experience uh, through every war. I wish there was no war, but there will always continue to be war. And for those that are serving, I'm proud of them. I had a young Marine come up to me. I was at this event recently. This was last month. I had two of them, and I don't run around with a Marine, and I'm saying anything's wrong with it, but I personally don't run around with a Marine Corps hat, or I'm retired. I don't really talk about it that often, and it's not that I'm ashamed of it. Quite the opposite. I'm very proud of the 20 years I did in the Marine Corps. I wish I would have done better, but I'm very proud of the 20 years I did. I've just moved on to what I'm doing now, so it's not something I talk about that often. But they wanted to talk to me, and they were both, in the same field that I used to be in, and they were asking me my opinions and thoughts on the new Marine Corps. And I just simply told them without, it came off as rude, but then I explained myself. It says, I don't care. Like, they were just really in shock. And it's not that I don't care. It's just that every generation, it's a matter of what young Marines, what do you think of today's Marine Corps? What do you want? What are you going to make it? My generation's war happened. I think we fought it well. I think we did the best we could with what we knew and what we had. And I think future warfighters will do the best they can with what they know and what they have. I wish them the best of luck because every generation will have its war. Unfortunately, it's very sad to say that because every war changes. It changes people. You're just different. You're never really the same. You'll never be who you were. Um, I don't know if that's good or bad. It's just a fact. It's how it is. So yeah, here I am now with gray hair in my beard, and yeah, I've been retired since 2015. Built pretty amazing business, have a family, um, and I'm able to reflect. And it's almost wild to me because I remember watching, you see those videos, you meet the old guys, they fought in World War II and or Korea, um, Vietnam, and prior when we were in peacetime, I talked to these guys and these girls, there's and hear their stories. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. But you don't always see past that story. You don't see how it's affected them or changed our country. Um, and I think every warrior from every war always ended up, in some ways, judging their experience with those that came before them and even those around them. You know, uh, maybe went to a combat environment and didn't pull any triggers, so you feel away. Or maybe you did pull triggers and you lost some friends and you still made it and you feel away. Um, but now I get it. All these years later, I think yesterday was the first time I really, probably because of my sobriety, because I've been sober now for some time. This was the first year I really reflected on it and thought about the good times and the funny stories, the bad times, and some of the stuff that I had forgotten. Um, and I was sad and I was happy. It's a very weird thing. So, anyways, just felt like sharing that today. That's all I got. All right. Talk to you later.